I will try to be brief, although I have a nickname of Chief Longwind. So, good morning, Mr. Chair and members of the board. TriMet has been claiming the needs to cut costs. TriMet General Manager Neil McFarland said that the reason of the unlawful implementation of the changes to the insurance was out of financial necessity. But where and how to save TriMet's money appears to be selective. Currently, the union and TriMet have 91 grievances pending arbitration. 11 are termination grievances. In addition, the parties have over 200 grievances pending through the contractual process. The parties have, until recently, resolved pending arbitrations cases through a mutually agreed upon mediation/arbitration process. A mutually selected neutral third party would hear a grievance, giving both TriMet and the union the opportunity to provide evidence and testimony in support of their respective positions. The neutral would then mediate the dispute, encouraging the parties to reach a resolution. If the parties were unable to reach a mutual acceptable resolution, then the neutral would act as the arbitrator and issue a settlement decision that would be binding by both the union and TriMet. Since the parties have engaged in this process, approximately 43 grievances have been resolved through the mediation arbitration component. Of that, a number 18 were resolved through mediation settlement, which means both sides mutually agreed to that settlement. The neutral rendered binding decisions in 25 of the grievance cases, which included 5 terminations. Of these, 25 cases where a binding decision was rendered, 21 of them were decided in favor of TriMet, and 4 were decided in favor of the union. The cost to TriMet for these grievances resolutions represents approximately $300 per grievance for the neutral mediator/arbitrator after splitting the cost with the union. TriMet managers presented the grievances for the employer, and such their salaries were already budgeted for their regular work time. But in a letter to the union dated January 18, 2011, Shelley Lomax, TriMet Executive Director of Operations, wrote, and you have a copy of it with you, "As far as the grievances listed in the letter, we believe those are appropriate to proceed to arbitration rather than mediation. Apparently, TriMet has decided it is more economical to resolve the current 91 grievances pending arbitration through a full-blown arbitration process. This makes no sense for the agency to cry poverty. The cost for TriMet to pursue one grievance through a traditional arbitration process cost the public roughly $22,000 per case. These costs are more on the low end. It only represents TriMet's court reporter and attorney fees and arbitrator fees. So with the 91 cases pending arbitration that now TriMet does not want to mediate, the potential cost to taxpayers to resolve these grievances through traditional arbitration process is somewhere around $2,002,000. This amount is for representing the case only and does not include the monetary award that TriMet may be required to pay as a result of the adverse decision. Also, this amount does not include the 200+ grievances that are currently making their way through the grievance procedure, of which many will likely end up in the arbitration. Even if TriMet wanted to discontinue using the mediation arbitration process, mutually agreed by both parties, they could still save the taxpayers money by using expedited arbitration process provided in the collective bargaining agreement between TriMet and the union. I've heard today many stories, which it might surprise you that I didn't contact anybody for those to come about. And it's interesting, I just came from a awards event in Rogue Valley Transit District. And we just settled a contract here several months ago. Had the same problems associated here. High cost for insurance. It's everywhere. There's no secret. And apparently there's some misconception that the union is unwilling to negotiate fairly, is unwilling to create compromises in order to get there. The last position the union took is a status quo going to the arbitrator. So for those of you who don't know, 14 days prior to that, we would put in our last best final. The arbitrator will make a final binding decision. It's not a split the baby, it's a one deal. So that means we must be reasonable if we're in order for them to decide with us. But unfortunately, that communication has not taken place. I would encourage Neil McFarland to call Julie Brown, of the general manager of Rogue Valley Transit District. Because that woman came forward and she had the same aggressive approach to begin with. And I looked her in the eyes and I said, you're balancing the budget on our members' backs, and we're going to continue to fight this issue, and I'll be back here every month, and I am not going away until we can resolve this issue. She came back and said, you know what, John, I'm offended that you said that. And I said, well, you know what? Here's a great opportunity to show me what you truly believe, and let's get this thing settled. And I can tell you, with hard work from both of us, remember, this is the same insurance increases that have went on everywhere. Through creative opportunities that, by the way, I've done for 23 other collective bargaining agreements. Unlike your current general manager and the negotiating team, I negotiate all the time. I'm doing it all the time. So I'm familiar with those opportunities to create VIVA spending accounts that Vice President Sam Schwartz talked about earlier. Creating co-insurance, creating an opportunity. Did anybody have the opportunity to see the news recently that stated, and I don't remember the actual quote, but that people who are on public transit are far greater to get sick because of the congestion, because of all the stuff out there. All these statistics are out now saying, hey, you know what? If you ride public transportation, chances are you're going to get sick. What do you think happens to our operators? In our industry, there's two things that are going on. One, it's extremely critical that we're working. If we're not there, that bus isn't going out. That train isn't going. We need to have somebody. There's a cost associated when we're not there. By putting the insurance into an area where some people are making the decision whether I go or not go, we're creating more and more problems. We're not solving them. We are putting these blocks up, and these walls are getting to the point where they're never going to be brought down again. And from what I've heard from where we're at publicly, we all need to be working together. My senior brother in the back there that talked about our family working together I'm a second generation. And I tell people in my union family, it's kind of like the one I came from. It's a dysfunctional one. Most of us came from one, if we're true. And that is we don't communicate well. We currently, to this day, do not have a labor relations director. We don't have anybody that says, you know what, I'm going to take the hit for not calling back the union member, for not having good conversations with the union. Because what you'll find is, I have never said I would not meet with somebody. I have never created the opportunity that this is the only way and this is not going to happen. What we have is an attorney's opinion over a bill that we put forward, I might add, that we put forward, that said, you know what, we believe transportation is as vital as police, as paramedics, for this industry. And we put forward that we will not withhold service in order to maintain community support and allow a third party to make that decision. But TriMet took the position from a law firm that language that says they may pass on increased cost through this process. They failed to read the second paragraph, which says unless your collective bargaining agreement speaks otherwise. And I'm here to tell you, it has spoke that way for the last 40 years. Amen. So here's my challenge today. And I hope you all, either from here on out, if we can't get this settled, add an extra hour to the time, because we're not going anywhere. And I appreciate all of your time, and I respect your positions outside of this, and I understand that you may have to go and do other things. But I'm telling you that our voice will be heard. We will continue to come back. We will continue to get these things done. What I am proposing, and by the way, this isn't the first time it's been proposed. One, I challenge some of you to join us in that negotiations. Amen. So you can hear what I'm saying and hearing, and maybe you're not getting the right scoop. 2 unfair labor practices are filed. Sam mentioned it was April. It's May now. May, close to 4 months from now, before our first hearing to discuss this issue. Then there's a second one. The first one is because TriMet, under the binding arbitration, took their proposal to the arbitrator, and it contained information they didn't bargain with us.
Right on.
The second one is the illegal implementation of the health insurance. Both of those go away if we get back to the table. You guys need to direct Mr. McFarland. Rescind the illegal implementation. Let's think about that. It's happening.
John.
Right. I'm on a roll.
Oh, I know you're on a roll.
I got 2 minutes. Let me
Okay,
finish my
all
thought,
right. This is the last presenter. I want to tell, because these are ATU issues. The other 2 presenters are ATU issues. You just ceded your time to Mr. Hunt.
Thank you. I think they would be happy to do that.
All right, I'm sorry, I control this meeting. We're going to adjourn after his comments.
That's the trouble, you don't want to listen now.
Okay,
I think we've listened for 2 hours,
Okay.
2 and a
And you
half.
still don't know that, do you?
Mr. Chair,
Why don't you
please.
listen once in a while?
John,
Mr. Chair, as I'm
Wrap it up.
finishing my thoughts,
Wrapping up my ass.
the issue that needs to take place is the illegal implementation be withdrawn. So let's think about that. It's not going to miraculously change in the next 2 days for any cost associated with it. But what it could do, what it would allow the opportunity, we're set to meet with Bob Nightingale, State Conciliator, on Friday, 10 a.m. at the Hilton. It's either going to be a real short meeting and we're done and you can see us and you're going to see us forever on these issues, or you can make a bold statement and say, you know what? We believe, just in the potential cost and all the heartache that's going to go on, that we're going to rescind that. And Mr. Hunt, we're going to ask that you take those 2 unfair labor practices that we know is going to cost a ton of money. We're going to have you withdraw those. And then we're going to ask you to do some creative thinking, and we're going to sit down, we're going to negotiate. And if we can't get that negotiations, we're going to work really hard. I'll open my schedule up. I'll commit to every single day that Mr. McFarland will commit to sit down and discuss issues under those parameters. If we cannot, we put the time and energy in it, both of us shake hands at the end of the day and say, we can't get there. We immediately both signed a joint letter to the governor asking for expedited arbitration and get this thing settled now. Because here's our problem. We brought the law forward. We said, you know what? We won't strike. Every single day I hear from my members, you guys are breaking the law. You don't care about binding arbitration, so why should we? So I'm telling you, I have got this group. I don't have it. They're doing it themselves. I'm not pushing it forward. Our group is asking and going to put forward reductions within our workforce. You are going to have service stopped. You are telling us the law means nothing, which, remember, the law was, hey, everybody, we can't agree. Let's let the third party make the decision. Let's make the third party. Right now, the third party's not making the decision. We haven't had a chance to get to court. 4 months before our first hearing. I'm asking, so what happens?
but John, we're going to adjourn if you don't wrap it up, and I mean that. Okay.
So how this takes place.
I've got a question.
Well, I'm sorry, but we're going to have him wrap it up.
I have a question.
I'm not recognizing your question. Finish, please.
Okay.
You are shutting me off, Mr. Chairman?
Yes. We have allowed.
Mr. Chair, I'll finish my thought.
Hold it. We have allowed several members to speak. I think we have given ample time.
Sir.
We've been very patient.
I understand.
And you keep going, John.
No, because you keep interrupting me, sir. I've showed you respect, but unfortunately, that's what's not been shown here. And if you please dust off your issues under Robert's Rules of Order, you will recognize under an open forum, when you give it 3 minutes to each person, they're allowed and entitled to yield that time. And I will be back here every month, and I will take the entire time, and I will have every one of them sign up until you hear what's going on. But I can tell you what, there's a great opportunity. I can lower my voice. I can enter into an agreement with Mr.
John, I hope
McFarland.
you do. I hope you take this opportunity. That's my response.
So, okay.
On behalf of the board,
So-
I do hope you guys take the opportunity to negotiate in good faith, both management and the union,
Rick, let
to
me ask
resolve
you
this.
Do
Honestly.
you understand my position?
I do understand your
Let me just break it real quickly down for you.
I think you
So,
did.
I have a position, right, for going to arbitration.
Sure.
I've already put mine in. Why do you think under these 2 areas, right, I'm going to go to court twice, right, under the issues, which I believe I'm going to prevail. And I have a third one that I can go to, that our members can make the final decision. Why would I continue to allow the illegal implementation? What you're going to have is you're going to have reduction. I'm going to go out there today and I'm going to say I have major concerns that this system's not going to run. Because I'm telling you what, if you don't agree that binding arbitration means we don't do anything, then we don't agree, we can't strike.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your time. I'd like to hear Mr. Lambert.
No. I project right now, we need to hear from Lynn
I'm appealing to
Lairbaugh.
the board. I want to
Rick,
Is this just one yes board?
We need to hear from Lynn.
No, this is up to the chair.
I'm going to adjourn the meeting, I'm sorry.
Come on, Rick. You need to hear from Lynn.
You're not allowing your own board member to speak?
Come on.
I'm listening, Lynn.
What kind of crap is that?
Hey, hurry up, John, I gotta go out and pick up a beer can and save my insurance.
McFarland, would you allow Lynn to address
My only question is, what can you do on Friday if you don't remove your ULBs and your implementation?
Nothing. It appears it'll be a wasted meeting. But I'm hopeful that somebody here has a conversation and recognizes what's about to take place. Because if we have to shut this city down, then that's exactly what we're going to do. Well, I